Hello everyone, welcome to Box Office Receipts. I'm your host Tyler Callahan, and this is not a normal episode per se, but more of an announcement. So with that being said, I'm just gonna come out and say it after about 300 episodes. At least for now, I will be ending the podcast. Now I've been doing the podcast now for a little over 5 years. I believe, if I remember right, I started back in mid to late 2019. Obviously, we went through the pandemic where we added the VOD premium section where we talked more about streaming news. There's the name of the podcast is Box Office Receipts. A lot of 2020 into 2021, there wasn't really much of a box office to talk about. But enough about me rambling about the beginnings of the podcast. I guess the main question is, why am I ending it? Well, if you have been listening, and if you do, I appreciate it. I've been a bit behind on the news. I mean, we just finished up with the last episode. We finished up the news from September, right? So if I was to do an episode 301, we would be talking about the first weekend of October, which it does pain me a little bit because, I wanted to talk about the Joker Folie à Deux bomb. It's just collapsing in real time. And the opening weekend is just amazing. But that's the thing, I'm recording this early February, and we're just getting to news in October. So look, I fall behind, there's life stuff going on. I can't fully commit enough time on the podcast to catch up, and my preference is not to just skip everything that has happened and just start from scratch. Like, start from this weekend's box office and take from there. That's not my preference, so okay, I gotta do them in order. I'm looking at, 4 months worth of podcasts, of news to get through. And my thing has always been, if I can't commit time to put in the work to make this, I would like to think, a decent quality podcast, I gotta put it on pause or I gotta end it. Now, I'm not saying I'm never ever gonna come back and restart the podcast. I might, but I would say short to medium term now. Again, possibly long term, the podcast will be ending. I think, personally, 300 episodes is a good amount. 300 episodes is a good amount. Quite a few of you I listened, not only in America, but around the world. So I appreciate it. And this isn't that I will stop talking about box office numbers or streaming news or Hollywood news, but it will be in a different format. So, I always plug my socials at the end. I will be more active on there, Blue Sky threads specifically about the news. So if you want to hear my thoughts on it, give me a follow there. And I do have a Substack, which I will also link in the show notes in this episode. I've been dabbling a little bit here and there, an article here or there about stuff from Hollywood. Last year I did an article about the most anticipated films for this summer box office season. So if I get the time, I will be heading to Substack first. Like this thing, if I get pockets of time, I'm going to write out an article, post on the Substack. That's how it's going to be for now, for a while at least. But hey, almost 5 years, about 5 years of doing this podcast. I had a great time doing it. I had a great time researching, recording, and giving you the news. Giving you the news on the box office numbers. If they're good, they're bad. Streaming news, the films in development. I'm seeing movies now that, we talked a year or two ago. They just got a director. They just started casting. And now they're out in theaters. They're out in theaters or they're out on streaming. It's been fun. So, if you've been listening to me for a while, again, thank you. Thank you for listening to everyone. I appreciate it. Again, socials will be in the show notes if you want to keep up to date on my thoughts and what's going on, and Substack as well. See you then.